Hey everybody, that was something new. I'm working on trying to make this thing as good as I possibly can, and so I got that new little intro thing I just put together. I am working on getting this playing off of my normal camera. Turns out I was playing around with it last night, and I need one little piece of equipment that I just don't have right now. So that's coming tomorrow. Hopefully, pretty soon I will not be having some stupid wire hanging out of my ear. But anyway, thanks for joining. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about sleep cycles and how they affect you and how you can use them to be more successful and awesome in your life. But before I jump into that, and while people are joining, I want to give some shout outs to my heroes from yesterday. These are what I'm calling people who use the super chat to put a buck or two in the tip jar, which is hugely appreciated. The people that chimed in or gave yesterday were Drake Zero, who is actually a Patreon supporter, so he totally didn't have to do that, and I totally appreciate it. Heathen, Darth Id, old school OG from the early days of the channel. Glad to have you around. Neil Brooks, Justin Shillington, who I've also seen around quite a bit. Love all you guys, thank you. And the big spender was Donald Trump, who I see in the live chat now. Thank you, dude. I just feel weird saying that. Donald Trump, give me $10. It's not the real Donald Trump, guys, just so we know that. Real quick, I want to jump into some of the comments from yesterday's video. So yesterday I talked about human pig chimeras. I keep wanting to say chimeras. I know that's not right. But had a few comments that I thought were interesting. So MC's Creations kind of joked around and said, how about a human ape head transplant? And then Ian Fox, who's been around for a while, said that he once saw a special about the ways people have tried to create human-ape hybrids or ape soldiers over the years. One thing they've done is cut a head off of one ape and placed it on another's body, and it pointed to different objects and was trained to do a couple of different tricks. The world's a crazier place than a lot of us know, and I think I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen old footage of like Soviet scientists that did that, and I think they did that with dogs too. They like actually kept a dog's head alive outside of its body. There's footage of it. It's super creepy. It's like a Tool video or a Metallica video or something. It's super like not for the squeamish. But yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Super weird. I want nothing to do with that. But anyway, so I talked a second ago about the people who chimed in yesterday for the super chat. If you don't know what it is, just letting you know. At the bottom of the live chat, there's a little $ thing that looks like it's sort of like in a suitcase or whatever. You can click on that and you can donate however much you want. It really, I just appreciate whatever you guys want to share. And be careful. There was a guy yesterday who accidentally put his credit card number in the chat. I saw this later. I didn't see it while I was talking, but apparently that was a lot of drama. Don't do that. And if you saw it yesterday and you used that number in any way, shape, or form, don't do that. Don't be a dick. It's not cool. Anyway, so be careful on both sides there, but appreciated all the way around. So I'm going to try to keep this one shorter. I've been trying to keep them a little bit more compact. Yesterday's went a little bit longer than I wanted, but I'm going to jump right into it. That's the point of it. So let's talk about sleep cycles. Now we've all heard, there are morning people, there are evening people. Sorry, hold on. Let me just say one thing real quick. Go ahead and chat in the live stream chat. And I'm not going to be able to respond to it as I'm talking unless you give a super chat. I'll make sure and call you out. But I will respond afterwards. So I'm going to go through this just real quick, just kind of go through the topics, save your questions for later. At the end, we'll do a Q&A, and I'll interact with you there. Just kind of the way I have to do it. So anyway, where was I? Sleep cycles. We all know about morning people and evening people. And you always see on Facebook these days, people are sharing these articles that are like, morning people are better, more creative, and live longer, and night people are more organized and more awesome, and more billionaires are night people, and all that kind of stuff. You always see that, and strangely enough, they always seem to line up with who that person is. You never see like a morning person sharing that a night person is actually better than them. Ironic that, but it's actually a lot more complicated than that. And it's a lot more important to talk about than that. Now, I personally have talked before about how much I hate sleep, and that has not changed. I hate sleep. I wish to God I could just not have to worry about it. I feel cheated. I feel like I have a third of my life taken away. I spent a third of my life in a coma, basically. And we all do. And I feel like that's totally unfair and it sucks and I hate it. I also get into this weird place every night when I lay down. I feel like I'm basically, preparing for death. Like falling asleep every night is like a little death because you're losing consciousness. The whole concept of it, when you step away from it, for me anyway, it just seems so bizarre and weird because you're literally, like any other time in your life, if you pass out, it's a bad thing. If you get hit in the head too hard and you pass out, you drink too much, you pass out, that's a bad thing. But every single night we lay down and pass out, and we're supposed to be okay with that. But it's a good thing though, and that's where I'm going with this. Like there's all these studies that are saying how important sleep is. It's not just this thing you have to do, even though that's my mindset and I need to get over that. It's actually something that impacts your life in major ways. Apparently, if you get a bad night's sleep, it's the same as having like 3 drinks, being semi-drunk. And ironically, I'm sitting here drinking coffee at 2 in the afternoon because last night both of my dogs kept me up over and over again. I got literally like 2.5 hours of sleep last night. It's called irony, people, because now I'm talking about it. But something else that I heard was that if you have sleep issues throughout your life, it actually can shorten your life to the same amount as if you were a smoker. So this is serious stuff. And it reduces productivity, it reduces quality of life, it makes us moody and angry, and it's something that we have to get a little bit more educated about and take more seriously. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because I listened to a podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but this one specific podcast is called The Art of Charm. And, they kind of got started as a relationship dating podcast, but then they moved into self-improvement, self-mastery, that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. But they talked to the guy named Michael Breus. He's a sleep researcher, and he's got a book that's called The Power of When. That's what it's called, The Power of When. And he has broken down the whole morning person, night person thing into 4 different, what he calls chronotypes. And I found this super interesting because my wife and I are totally different, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But so I mentioned The Power of When. Here, I'll show you his book. I actually have it pulled up here. Okay. I fixed the sound and then I didn't talk while I was doing it. Anyway, never mind. But that's the book. I have links for it actually down in the description and a link to his website, which I will talk about also in a second because he's got some cool stuff on there. But the chronotypes that he's broken it down into, he's identified them by animal types, which are lion, bear, wolf, and dolphin. Those are the terms that he uses. The lions are your basic morning people. They get up before the sun comes up. They're your 5 a.m. people, and then they're kind of wiped out by 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Your bears are kind of more in the middle. They kind of go more with the sun. They kind of wake up when the sun comes up and get tired when the sun goes down. Your wolves are your night people. Wolves are nocturnal, so that makes sense the way he's got these animals laid out. But the wolves, this is what I am, by the way. Wolves are people that don't really want to get up and do anything before 8 or 9 o'clock or later, and don't get tired, don't want to go to bed until after 11 and 12 o'clock, even later at night. That's kind of when things start to kick in. That's when you get more creative. That's when the juices start flowing and whatnot. And the dolphins are actually kind of people with sleep issues. Now, an interesting thing about dolphins is that they actually don't sleep like we do. By the way, if you hear my dog barking, it's probably because a leaf blew by outside. Did I mention she kept me up all night? Awesome. So, so dolphins actually sleep what they call, I believe it's either I'm going to say semi-hemispherically. So you got your left and your right half of your brains. Dolphins actually sleep, like the left half of the brain will sleep while the right half is, I'm not doing it right. Anyway, one half of the brain will sleep while the other half is awake. So they kind of half sleep and half keep an eye out for predators and whatnot. And he's using that to identify people who are insomniacs, people who never fully get like good REM sleep, people who never quite settle in. And these are the people that really have sleep issues throughout their lives. So those are your 4 different chronotypes right there. And why it's important to know what you are, it's not just about when you wake up and when you're, naturally inclinated to go to sleep. It's also about the way your hormones fluctuate throughout the day. This affects when is the best time to be active and exercise, when's the best time to eat maybe something fatty so that you don't lose weight, when you can be creative, when you can be productive. He says like there's a certain time of day when these different chronotypes should ask for a raise or communicate with their boss in some way. And so it really does affect your entire daily schedule. And he actually has gone around and spoken to businesses and talked them into loosening up their schedules to adapt to people's chronotypes. Like there are businesses now that he works with that actually test all their employees to find out which chronotype they are and then allow them to work accordingly. And he's found that in some of these businesses, the productivity has gone through the roof, morale has increased, and it's just been an overall good thing for everybody. And it's also helped relationships. Because like in my personal relationship, I said a second ago, my wife is definitely a lion. She's up, even on the weekends, she's up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm sleeping until 10 or 11, but she's up at 6 or 7 o'clock. She goes to bed every night at around 8 or 9, and I'm up till 12 or 1. So we both kind of have our own little time there, but it's something that does affect relationships if in families. If you are, if you're a wolf and you're being expected to get up early, then you're going to be cranky, you're going to be upset. And by the way, so my wife actually during the week she has to get up at like between 4:30 and 5 every morning because she's a teacher, and their classes start at like 7 in the morning, which is insane. It's insane. There are so many studies that show how damaging that is. Because another thing that he talked about was that teenagers, your chronotype can actually change throughout your life, and teenagers tend to be more like wolves. Teenagers in general need more sleep because your body is growing and you're going through so much change and everything that expends a lot of energy. So you need more sleep to catch up for that. And teenagers don't get to sleep as much because they have to get up at friggin' the ass crack at dawn to go to school at 7 o'clock. It's ridiculous. And there's so many studies that show that it screws everything up. It's terrible for everybody. And it's terrible for my wife because she has to get up so early. Even though she is an early riser, it's still early for her to have to get up at that age or that time. I've always wanted to just kind of go without an alarm for a while just to see what I would do. I swear I would probably sleep until 11 or 12 and stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning, just naturally, or maybe even later. But I've been unable to do that because of work and whatnot. But I've always been curious about that. So he talks in the book and in the podcast about how you can hack your chronotype if you just absolutely have to get up early in the morning, but you're a wolf. There are things like these blue lights that have like a daylight color that you can turn on first thing in the morning. They also suggest obviously not having any kind of blue light like on your phone and laptop, iPad and stuff like that late at night when you're trying to go to sleep. It kind of screws with your brain. But there are hacks that you can do, but he's very adamant that you can kind of temporarily hack it, but it's not something that you can permanently change because it's hardwired, it's genetic. And that's another thing to understand when you're talking to your boss or you're talking to people trying to get them to adapt to your chronotype or accept your chronotype anyway, is that it's not something that you can really change and it's not something that you can help. It's something that's definitely genetically hardwired. So, having said all that, I would love to hear in the chats and in the comments what chronotype you guys think you are. By the way, he has a website. It's called thepowerofwin.com. It's linked down below. There's a quiz that you can take to find out what your chronotype is. And there's actually, I think, some templates and emails, strategies and stuff like that to get your boss in your workplace to adapt and allow you to do that. Because I think if you can prove to them that you can be more productive and you can be a better worker by sleeping in a little bit late and maybe going home a little bit later, Most bosses, I mean, it depends on the industry, obviously, but a lot of bosses will adapt for that, especially in like office environments. So there's ways that you can do that right there on the website, and I think that's pretty cool. So this was all super interesting to me when I was listening to it. I hope I've been able to present it in a way that is interesting to you. And I'm going to take a sip of coffee while the live chat gets caught up. But if you guys have questions, I'm going to go through the live chat and just see what you guys have to say and respond. Because this is live, man. By the way, just real quick, I had a lot of people, actually, Ryder Storm, I believe, commented yesterday. Yeah, it was Ryder Storm. He said, just got off work. Guess I'll be missing most of your live streams if they're around that time. Oh, well. I've been getting comments from different people in different places, including somebody reached out, somebody reached out on Instagram saying that it's kind of hard to watch my videos at 2 in the afternoon because of jobs and stuff like that. I totally understand that, guys. The reason why I picked 2 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon for me, I know there's people around the world right now, but the reason I picked this time was because I looked into my analytics, and that was when there was a bit of a bump, and that's when most people were watching. I will be doing these on the weekend, probably at the same time. I want to keep it at the same time so everybody knows when to come check it out. But I might try a few in the evening just to, try to get everybody. If you're being left out, I'm sorry. I don't want to leave anybody out. But at a certain point, you just kind of have to play the numbers. So that's kind of what I've had to do. All right, so let's look in the chat. Chelsea Lee has wolf tendencies. I know Chelsea Lee. She's very wolfy. Yeah, I just said that. No, Chelsea is one of my favorite people in the world, and I'm so happy to see you in the live chat. Oh, this makes me feel good. Okay. Oh, you say you're a dolphin with wolf tendencies. Well, you need to get that fixed, girl, because sleep. You need sleep. Oh, any collabs with Isaac Arthur coming up? So this month was live streaming. That was kind of my thing this month, and I think next month I'm going to start trying to do some more collabs. I might reach out to Isaac again. The one we did was pretty fun, but he's kicking ass. He's up. He's been growing really fast, and for good reason. He's got an awesome channel. Anyway, point being, I'm going to be trying to do some more collabs with people. Does your chronotype become permanent after adulthood? Okay, so what he was saying in the podcast, that was Samarin94. What he was saying on the podcast was, I hit into this a second ago, was that it changes throughout your life. So I think the older you get, the more things shift earlier. Like you always hear about old people eating dinner at 3 in the afternoon. That's kind of something that tends to happen in your older days, apparently, according to him. But my understanding, and I'll be honest, I haven't read the book, and I definitely want to check it out. I've just heard him talking about it on a podcast. But my understanding is that, once, when you're a teenager, it shifts later. When you're an adult, it kind of, fixes itself wherever it's going to be. And then as you get older, in your older years, it starts to shift earlier. But my understanding, according to what he was saying, was it does kind of fix itself in your adulthood. Greetings from Serbia. Like your shit. You've never seen my shit. I leave it in there. It's the bathroom. If you've seen it, then you're creeping in my house at night, and that's weird. You need to stop doing that. But thank you. That's very nice. Let's see. Zach33 says, at like 11, I was on a break between school, and you were live, and you're still live? Haha. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what you meant by that. Sorry. Okay. I Can Chaz says, I've always been more productive the later it gets. And that's totally me, dude. I'm like, as soon as... That's my problem, is the time that I really want to be going to bed, I'm suddenly getting all creative and I can't turn my mind off, And like last night was a perfect example. I mean, I was being kept up because of the dogs, but I mean, I didn't go to bed till 1 o'clock, and I was just laying there because I'm trying to figure out my new camera situation here, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it, and I couldn't shut it off. I need to be doing more meditating. That helps with that. Greetings from Brazil. Hey, Brazil. Portugal. X Spectrum. So that's Jose, I believe, on Snapchat. You've been chatting with me on Snapchat, I believe. Timothy Tucker, awesome. $2. Thank you for the interesting topics. Love it. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Timothy is my hero for today. I think you're the only one that's contributed. That's okay, though. I work at Ren Tower. How close is your job to that? Oh, Renaissance Tower in Dallas? My job right now is it's here. it's here. I work here now, which is something that makes me happy. So I'm 30 minutes away from there. Let's just say. Timothy says he tends to be more of a wolf now because of work. So maybe you have a job where you can sleep in later. It's pretty cool. Donald Trump says he feels like waking up with the sun is just natural. Screens and stimulation keeps us up at night. Yeah, that's true. But again, I think it's some people wake up before the sun comes up. I'm also curious about, and I should have talked about this a minute ago. I didn't think to include it because he didn't talk about it. But apparently, so you've heard of the term the witching hour? Apparently, once upon a time, people would go to bed, when there wasn't artificial light, they would go to bed when the sun went down. And then there was this kind of second sleep, like they would get up in the middle of the night around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and be up for a couple of hours and then go back to sleep and then get up with the sun. Like that was a natural rhythm that people used to do back in the day before artificial light and electricity. I've always found that fascinating, and I would love to try it. I don't think I'd be able to do it though, because when the sun goes down, I'm nowhere near tired. So I find that interesting, and I've read stuff about that. Okay, a couple more, and I'm gonna bail out of here. How's the new job going? I'm loving it, man. It's been super busy this week, like super busy. What can I say about it? The client that I'm working with is putting together a short film series that stars Christian Slater, actually. And I was putting together thumbnails for their YouTube account, and he was... we were going back and forth with Christian Slater's people about which thumbnails to use because he's very particular about his image. And that was like, wow, this is my job now. I'm like talking to Christian Slater's people. That's just crazy. What else we got? How many hours does it take me to fall asleep each night? Too long. It takes me forever. 30 minutes, an hour. On a good night, 30 minutes. What else can I refer to? Okay, I'm going to answer one more. Let's find a good one. You need some sleep. I know. I'm working on it. Brilliant stuff. Greetings from the UK. Greetings back. Thanks, man. Henry D. JDW. All right, last question. Samiron G asked, how do you and your wife distribute the household? It's a can of worms. We don't distribute it very well. I'll say that because it's never really been like written down necessarily. Wow, I don't have a good answer for this. So we are both people that kind of let things get to a point where we just can't deal with it anymore. Like it gets cluttered to the point where it's just like, I can't deal. So like the whole day gets shut aside while we clean things up. We are both that way. Where we have issues is that my point where I can't take it anymore is a little bit further than where my wife's point where she can't take it anymore is. And so she'll tend to snap before I do. So my job is to just try to keep things at a point where she doesn't snap, because we don't want the wife to snap. But that's how it goes in my household. Okay, guys, I said I was going to keep it short, and here we are 26 minutes in. So I'm going to cut this off. Thank you, as always. Tomorrow, what am I talking about tomorrow? Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about deja vu. Because I have a weird condition about deja vu. I have something, I'll talk about it tomorrow, that there's some interesting stuff about deja vu that I've heard recently, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So you guys have a great rest of the day. It's Friday where I am, so I'm assuming it's pretty much Friday where you are. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll be here tomorrow, and we'll chat then. All right, so I'm going to close out. You guys have a good one. Love you guys. Take care.